Welcome back to Class and Grass Podcast, Season 3, Episode
Wow.
1.
Feels good to be able to say that, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, what are we? 60 episodes in now? More? 60 plus?
most likely.
That's
yeah.
an absolute milestone. Like,
Well, it's been
it's been plus a year.
a year and a half.
Yeah. So if we think about it, we started the podcast.
About May,
yeah,
probably.
well, end of May
Yep.
last year. Last year. We started it right when in Minnesota the COVID restrictions got to be a little bit less. You know, the podcast thoughts were brewing as we were in lockdown. We were like, this seems like something we should start up.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to it. And now we're rolling with season 3. Had a bit of a long break, which honestly was probably much needed between the
Yeah.
entire crew. I think producer Sutton back there could agree with me, as well as both of us. But honestly, I think we're all quite excited to be back in the stew and rolling again. And you went to Nantucket, right? In the vacation break. How was that?
It's great.
It's good, yeah.
Great
Get
weather.
a little bit of sun.
Yes.
Yeah,
You have
it's
too,
nice.
I've seen.
Well, yeah, I did end up in California for a little bit for, you can call it business ventures. Not necessarily COG business, but a bit of footy business. And definitely
Forgot to put
burned a
on the
crisp
zinc.
burned a crisp of my face
Yeah.
a little bit. And came back looking like Rudolph for a few days.
Mhm.
But it's how it goes when you
Yep.
go to Cali, son, and you forget to. Well, Mom, no, I didn't forget entirely. Don't get mad. It was just a one day thing where I
Yeah.
forgot that sunscreen. But yeah,
To celebrate Season 3.
I was
you
just
did-
gonna say to
Yeah.
celebrate the new release of season 3, on air for the first time. Me and producer Sutton have gotten together. We got here at 6 a.m. Honestly, I think we should get here at 6 a.m. every day that we do the podcast.
I don't think he would enjoy that
Because
as much.
no, I feel like the creative juices are just flowing, right now.
That's the sweet spot.
I think it's the sweet spot.
Nice.
When we get here so early, our brains are just, functioning on that sleep mode. But yeah, we got together early in the morning and we were able to produce some, I would say, quite wonderful looking. I don't know about you. We have different ideas of designs. Mac loves the minimalistic, but I really enjoy the new design of season 3 merch. So if you're interested, go grab yourself some. It looks really good. It's super comfy. All 3 of us have a bunch of merch. A lot of our fans do as well. I think we've sold 30 plus orders already, which, for us is great stuff. And, yeah, go get yourself some of that if you want it. And without further ado, we're starting season 3 the way we should be starting every single episode, but we haven't.
Based on the last merch.
Yeah, based on the last merch.
Hassani of the week.
Yes, so we're going to, starting now in season 3, every single episode, we're going to be bringing the Hassani of the week to the beginning, and we're going to be just doing it right away, because we've kept forgetting, and now it's just going to be the start of every plan. So, without further ado, the Hassani of the week this week. Well, should we, before we get into that, that was a
Say
little
what it
teaser.
is.
That was a little teaser, yep. If you're new, and you're just listening for the first time right now, the Hassani of the week is an award that we give to the best player who played throughout the past week. During the season, it's fairly simple because it's just the player of the week, out of all of the leagues, generally a European player because those are the top leagues. And Hassani, it stands for Hassani Dotson, who is one of our, if not our favorite player on our home team that we support, Minnesota United. But yeah, right now it's a bit harder because actual club football hasn't been going on and national teams haven't even been really going on. It's been club friendlies, and we're not really going to go into anything about that. But me and Mac have decided on one player who is just an absolute machine. He's a workhorse. He played in the Euros, played in the Olympics, then took a week off, and then now is back in preseason for Barca, which is just ridiculous. He deserves more time off. But he goes to Pedri, who is one of the biggest young talents at the moment. And, I don't know if there's anything else to say about him. He's a great player.
Yeah. Like you said, I think he's played upwards of like 70 games this season.
I swear it's like 70 or 80.
And like averages like a game every 5 days or something. When you think about that, you're like, oh, once every 5 days isn't that bad. But most players get the whole summer off when there's not tournaments. And for him, he's only 18. And to be starting in the Euros, starting the Olympics, starting a good amount of games for Barcelona as well through the season, he's really come out and has been seen as the next Iniesta or the Xavi, that midfield role. Basically, as well, he in the Euros, I forgot what game it was, but
did they play Croatia? Was that it?
I think it was that one. He only in the whole 90 minutes before extra time, he only misplayed one pass, or he maybe didn't at all.
I think he had 100% passing accuracy, and that's like
for a midfielder.
For a midfielder who attacks a lot, that's ridiculous. And on top of that, I think he had like 50 plus passes, which is just unreal. I mean, at such a young age to show that, and then honestly, like not even just showing that, but he's showing that with consistency. Mm-hmm. Like he's doing that week in, week out. Obviously, he's not performing like never losing the ball, but he is performing at a very high level.
Yeah, it just shows that he's a very smart player, that he doesn't play. Obviously, more attacking players will try those harder passes and they don't always come off. But for him, who's not just a defensive midfielder, he really is box to box, I'd say, if not attacking. To have that good of success rate means he's really smart and plays the right pass every single time. Yeah,
I mean, the other player that I could relate that to maybe would, you said Xavi, Iniesta. Obviously, Xavi's retired, and Iniesta, I think he maybe got one more year in, where is he, Japan? Or is he?
Yeah, or in,
I don't know.
Qatar or something.
Yeah, maybe, possibly, yeah. But the other player I'd compare him to right now at Barca would be Busquets, but the difference is Busquets has nowhere near the athleticism that Pedri has. So
no.
Pedri could become even miles better than him. Mm-hmm. So super exciting for Barca, but at the same time, throughout this past week, Barca has lost arguably the heart and soul of their club for the past 20 years. All the fans' favorite player, and if it's not their favorite player, it's the most respected player. Yeah. And that's Lionel Messi. And it was kind of an unfortunate way to leave because it was not the decision of the club nor the player, but instead something to do with financial fair play regulations with La Liga. They said the contract wouldn't go through, it wouldn't work. Yeah. Apparently Messi even volunteered to cut his salary in half, and that still didn't do it. So clearly Barcelona are in an absolute scramble on finances right now.
I mean, obviously, a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, it was, Messi's fallen out with the board, he's definitely going. And then only like a couple weeks ago, something came out that he was for sure staying. He was ready to sign a contract, as,
Fabrizio said it.
Yeah, as they were bringing in like Depay and Aguero and some like decent players and actually showing their like support for him. And then it just dropped like out of nowhere that he cannot sign the new contract because not that either party didn't want to, it's just it wasn't possible for some reason that like they weren't aware about,
Exactly. Yeah. And in my personal opinion, I feel like when you're La Liga, I understand you have to be professional. You have to go about things the same way with every player and with every situation. Otherwise, it's unprofessional. But like I'm looking at this situation, I'm saying, it's Lionel Messi. You're hurting your league. You're going to lose so much money from like views and TV revenue if you lose him. You're going to lose the best player to ever play the game from your league. Like, why are you not making an exception? And I like it's hard because you're torn. You're like, well, they can't do that. And then like,
no player is bigger than the club,
Yeah, that's the problem that they're facing. Yeah, and it did seem that way. It seemed like Messi was bigger than Barca.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's right or not, but it's an unfortunate scene. And what came out of it was an absolute super team by PSG. Like I'm looking at this team. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, we talked once. The news broke. We were like, we both kind of agreed he should either retire or go back to Old Boys. Is it?
Yeah, So
in Argentina,
Newell's Old Boys or retire, and that was my thought. And that was you said that to me, and I was like, I completely agree with that.
Yeah,
it would just look so much better.
Because like, if you go, obviously he did go to PSG, which to be honest, it makes more sense
wasn't a
because
surprise.
he's teaming up with Neymar, who he used to play with, all these players he knows. But in like a kind of view of his career, it does kind of look weird because you think of him as he could have been a one club player,
Yeah.
which obviously there aren't many of.
Lewis
anymore.
Dunk.
Yeah.
Don't you forget about him.
Well, probably he's the only one left at the moment.
No, it's true. It's
Yeah.
it's hard. You know, the only times you can find those one club players are at a club like Brighton or Burnley. Like that, you just get the English guy who's loyal to the
Just
club.
really doesn't care about the wages or anything.
Yeah.
He's just-
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there any other one club player? Was Marco Reus at Dortmund when he was younger?
No. Well, I mean Gerrard.
Well, no.
Liverpool,
I'm talking
all
about. I'm
those,
talking
like,
about
current-
active player.
Current. There probably are.
Well, big. I don't know. It's hard
There's
because
probably some in Barca. Was like Busquets.
yeah, Busquets is he came in the Masia Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So that
PK.
PK was at Manchester United for a
Oh,
little
true.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but obviously not at that level where you stay at one club and you're winning. You became the best player in the world your whole career, won all the trophies, everything at one club. You really just don't see that. And, but yeah, PSG's transfer window probably has to be the best all time.
Yeah, we got to go through this. I mean, if we're being honest, we looked at Chelsea last year, who did win the Champions League. They, to be fair to them, they won the Champions League. But we looked at their transfer window and we said this is unbelievable because they got Kai Havertz, they got Timo Werner, they got Hakim Ziyech, and
Thiago Silva.
Yeah, Thiago Silva. And it was just one of those things where you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be unreal.
Yeah.
Chilwell and Thiago Silva did actually help them a lot.
They did.
And
Mendy,
Havertz.
when he came in as well.
Yeah, and Havertz as well helped. But, you know, it wasn't the impact that we saw from those transfers wasn't the reason that they won the Champions League.
It wasn't as big as we thought. I think.
Yeah. But that being said, I don't care really what anyone says. I think this PSG team, the players that they brought in, is just going to be an absolute madness. You know,
and if they don't, then
it's ridiculous. If PSG have a squad lining up with Donnarumma, the player, not just the goalkeeper of the tournament at the Euros, but the player of the tournament at the Euros, they bring in Hakimi, a phenomenal young outside back. They bring in Gini Wijnaldum, the best player who was on the Netherlands team because Verge wasn't there, and unbelievable for Liverpool. They bring in Sergio Ramos, one of the best center backs in the world. And then they bring in Lionel Messi, just to pair with Mbappe and Neymar.
They are they really have, I think, in every position, a top 5 player in the world. I think
it's ridiculous.
At least
it's
maybe
unbelievable.
Top 3.
So if we take a lineup, right? Let's say we're doing a 4-3-3.
Kimpembe.
Yeah. Say a 4-3-3. Donnarumma, number 1 goalkeeper in the world right now. Outside back Hakimi, top 10 outside backs in the world. Ramos, top 2 in the world. Kimpembe, top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
The other outside back will be, I mean, it's always been like Levin Kurzawa, but I don't even know if he's on the team anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like he's at Marseille. PSG are always skimping a bit on the outside backs.
But they really don't need it. It's all attack, just vibes.
And then if we look at the midfield, Marco Verratti, top 10 midfielders in the world. Gini Wijnaldum, top 10. And
probably
then,
Messi at attacking mid.
Yeah, even Messi at attacking mid. And then you put Neymar and Mbappe. Those are all top 5.
Di Maria.
And then Di Maria. You're literally looking at it. It's unreal.
Like, I don't think there's...
You know, we might see...
they might not play as the best team in history, but
it's going to be so interesting to see.
They do have the best... Like, you could say maybe the best team all around.
I don't think you can say it's better than the Barca 2011 team with Messi. Was it Ronaldinho, Messi, or maybe Ronaldinho wasn't there?
No,
but who was it? No, I need to hold on. Let me look this up. It wasn't Ronaldinho.
Xavi, Iniesta.
It was Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, PK. Let me look up Barca 2011 team. Okay, let's see here. Thiago, PK, Zlatan.
Yeah.
Let's see if they have an image of the starting 11. David Villa, Mascherano, Dani Alves, Victor Val. Like, I don't think it's better than that team necessarily. I mean, we're going to have to see on paper.
They played the best.
They played the
time,
best football ever.
It's more, we're saying, like, the players that PSG have. I think just overall, on paper, they come up with a fight against that team.
But do you think that prime MSN, if we're just looking at a front three, we're not looking at the rest of the team, we're just looking at a front three, I feel like prime MSN will be better than Messi, Neymar, Mbappe because
of age, I think.
Because it was a better version of Messi.
Yeah.
It was a better version of Neymar, and Suarez was better than Mbappe at the time.
At striker
at
as well.
the time.
I think Mbappe is better wide.
Yes. So, and you have to look at that and say, like, there were better forms, but it's just in football today and just on paper, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be allowed.
And you kind of guess how it is allowed based on all the...
Financial fair play is the biggest baloney I've ever heard of in my life.
Sometimes it comes up, it's like, oh yeah, you can't actually do that when teams have bought like 2 players or something, and then other times PSG's
wage budget has to be mad.
It has to be unreal.
It's got to be like plus 300 million.
Like all of those players,
they're all demanding like minimum 30 million a year.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them. And they've got like 10 of them.
Yeah.
That's 300 million. And then you're not taking into account all of the smaller players. They're going to get paid at least like 1 or 2 mil. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But then obviously the kind of fallout because of Messi leaving, as we said, they brought Aguero in, who explicitly said he came for Messi, and now he's like openly said
he wants out.
He wants to leave. He's like, I did not come here.
He literally went to the Barca board 2 weeks after settling in and said, I do not want to play here.
Yeah.
It's just...
Honestly, though, I would still play. It's Barcelona, and it's a decent team. Obviously, he did come...
Scrap it!
Yeah, it's not like he went to a lower level team.
It's not like he tried to go
City.
play with his, long lost brother who was on like Forest Green Rovers and
like it's Barcelona still. I would stay.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think he has to stay.
He signed to a contract. They're like, no, you can't leave.
Yeah, I don't see him. Obviously, I don't see him going to PSG. I don't see him really leaving anywhere.
Yeah.
And now he's injured. So.
Well, no, this is typical of Sergio. Yeah. And here's the other thing. You have to think when a player gets injured and they aren't happy or they're not content where they are, do you think they just milk that injury as long as they can?
There's no way he's...
They're just like, sorry, Gaff, my hamstring's pulling up a bit right now. Can't head out to training.
I mean, and he's used to the past year or two not really being the star at Man City. He's been off the bench. He's been injured as well. So
Pep doesn't need him. Yeah. He never needed him. Like, well, he did.
Pep doesn't use strikers anymore.
Well, how do you think Gabby Jesus is gonna fit into this system now?
Remember last year when they literally had a De Bruyne, Sterling, Mahrez front three?
Well, yeah. I'm seeing a lot of, if we're just like segue into FPL a little bit. Mm-hmm. By the way, our FPL league, I think you can still join it. Like it's starting today, obviously, because the first game is at 2:00 today. But I think you can still join it. You're just gonna join it a week late, but your team, your points are obviously gonna carry into it because if you made a team before. But yeah, go to our Instagram, Class and Grass Media, and you can find the code there. Mm-hmm. I think it's like OVNYQJ or something like that. I don't know how I remember that. That was pretty sweet. It's pretty sick. But yeah, obviously segueing into FPL, a lot of people are choosing Riyad Mahrez. Like the selection rate is very high, and apparently he's had a really good preseason. So I'm really intrigued to see how he does, and that whole Man City team, just how they line up.
I went for no City attackers besides De Bruyne.
You can't.
I went De Bruyne. We'll go into our fantasy teams later, but I just went
now.
Sure.
Sounds good.
But, well, I guess before that, Chelsea did win the Super Cup against Villarreal, which is just Champions League versus Europa League winners.
I was talking to my dad about it. We were watching the game at night. It was a replay on CBS Sports. But I was talking to him about it. Does it I obviously acted confident. And I was like, yeah, this is what it means and everything. But I was wondering what you think. If you win the Super Cup and you win the FA Cup and you win the Premier League, or if you win the Super Cup and you win the Premier League and you win the Champions League, is it still a treble, or do you have to get the actual treble for it to really count?
I think the treble is always like domestic trophies plus
Champions League.
the Champions League. Or
So that's what I was saying the official treble is that, but I was saying if you want to
technically that is a treble.
If you want a quintuple or you want a quadruple, you have to win. I think if you want a quintuple, you have to win the Super Cup. So yeah, it does kind of matter, but it's not a huge deal.
I mean, it's still a pretty cool trophy. Obviously, you're playing technically the two best teams in Europe based on
the problem is that it's the season after. That's the only problem.
Yeah, it's at a random time. No one really cares
no one's really
about
it or anything.
But yeah.
But yeah, Fantasy Premier League, like we said, is starting. We are doing. I know myself, Mac, and producer Sutton are doing a draft. Some of our friends and mutual friends. And that I would actually suggest to everyone, obviously it's kind of done now, but next year, just keep this in your brains. A draft is actually a good way to go about FPL, because the only upside to it, but it is quite a big upside, is that everyone, and Mac was bringing this up to me a lot, but everyone doesn't have the same type of team. In FPL, you're going to come across 5 different types of people, and every team's going to be a little bit different from the next, but if you look at like 5 different teams, you're going to see Salah in one of them, you're going to see Grealish in one of them, you're going to see, you know what I mean? So
and
it just makes it
becomes more of like what one player that you have different from another guy is going to give you more points, and that's going to be the decider. It's like if you all have different players, it's like fun, you don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, should we go through our draft teams first? And then
let's do draft teams, and then let's do we have the, like we said, we have the Class on Grass Media League, which is just normal FPL. That's got, I think, 10 in it right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got 9 in it right now. So we'll go over that second, but let's start with the draft team. So obviously everyone in the draft league, which has 10 people, had to pick different players. Once a player goes,
starting 11.
Yeah, once a player goes, they're gone to that team unless you trade for them. But yeah, you can go first.
So I drafted Nick Pope in goal, which I feel like a lot of just fantasy players.
No, yeah. So I was looking at my team. I was like, this is not something that I wouldn't take in fantasy.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the same thing. Defense of Van Dijk, Digne, and Lewis Dunk.
Louis, he has to be in there.
Really, all 3 solid choices based on play time, and as well as Digne, I think will get a good number of assists. Midfield, I was so surprised, but I got Salah, Sterling, Ward-Prowse, Jack Harrison, and Emile Smith-Rowe, which again, Salah and Sterling are probably picked in 50%, if not more, teams this year. And then up top, I have Iheanacho and Pukki. And I feel like also I put Cycling GK on the bench.
It's just one of those things.
It's one of those things.
All we have to say, it's just one of those things. Yeah. Moving over to my team. So you corrected me on this during the FaceTime when we were drafting, but is it Meslier?
Meslier.
Okay. So I have Meslier in net, Ruben Diaz, Ben Chilwell, and Cresswell in the back.
Cresswell's underrated.
Dude, no, he's so underrated. He's so good.
Yeah.
He just whips in those crosses like an absolute gem.
He does all corners and everything.
So that's actually, I think those 4 in the back is a solid back line. Midfield of Sancho, and Sancho is my first pick, which I actually kind of regret, because it's one of those where I'm like, I'm hyped to have Sancho. I want to watch him this season. It's going to be fun. But we're talking top 10 players in the Prem this year for that first pick. And I don't know if Sancho, and not only top 10 players in the Prem, but top 10 players to win fantasy points in the Prem. And I don't think Sancho's that guy.
I think similar to Man City, I don't know where he's going to fit in. Similar to Grealish going to Man City.
Yep.
You just don't know until they start playing if he's actually going to play consistently.
Exactly. So Sancho, Sadio Mane, who's my second pick, that's a good one. James Madison, Leandro Trossard, and Stuart Armstrong. So solid midfield. I'm happy about that. And then I have Ivan Toney up top with Alan St. Maximin. So solid starting 11.
Yeah.
We getting subs or no?
If you have any interesting subs.
Che Adams.
Che Adams, obviously.
What a wonderful player he is.
Can't believe he's on the bench.
Rob Sanchez on the bench. Adam Webster, Webdini, as we call him over in the South Coast.
Yes.
And Luke Ayling.
Yeah.
So yeah, decent stuff. Hopefully the draft will be good. I kind of like it because it's one of those things where you don't. I feel like it's more interesting because when there's a league, it's fun because of all of the research you have to do and all of the like thinking you have to do. But with the draft, you're playing against one other.
1v1.
It's a 1v1 every week.
Yeah.
And if you win that, you get 3 points, and you have a table. So it's actually quite cool.
It
how
really
that
is
works.
your team.
Yeah. It's like
team.
it feels more personal.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it. It's less analytical, but much more personal.
And then we can go into the teams we picked. We are not experts, so
we are literally quite possibly the worst fantasy players.
We both take about 10 minutes to fill ours out, and then we leave it for the whole year. But
we are like never take advice from us on fantasy.
I'm quite happy with what I've got. So I have Edouard Mendy, and then Van Dijk, Luke Shaw, John Stones, and Simakis, whatever.
Simkas.
Yeah, the Liverpool defender.
That's actually a great shout. My dad has him in his team.
Because Robertson got injured, so I think he'll be starting now. Midfield, Ward-Prowse, got him in both teams.
Wondrous.
He's just solid.
Well, no, you drafted Ward-Prowse in the draft fairly early.
I did.
I was like, that is an early pick right there.
He does everything. He really like every single goal he assists or actually scores.
Yeah.
Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. I usually don't like going for Bruno, but he killed me last year because I didn't have him.
Mm-hmm.
And then up top, Pookie again, Bamford, and Che Adams. The bench, I have Schmeichel. De Bruyne is injured at the moment, or at least it says so. I have him on the bench for this first game week. Yves Bissouma.
Here we go again. Here we go again. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. And then Livramento, the former Chelsea Academy Player of the Year.
I scouted him.
Southampton.
I scouted him for Southampton.
18 years old. I see him starting 2 weeks into the season.
This kid is going to be wonderful.
He's
going to be great. Okay, so let's just take a minute to appreciate the levels of that signing.
Yeah.
So he was the Chelsea Academy Player of the Year, and that includes all players from U23 down.
Yeah.
And the last 3 Chelsea Academy Players of the Year were Billy Gilmore, Reece James, and Mason Mount. So if he does anything near
them,
like level,
Southampton have got a great permanent signing. Obviously, they have a buyback clause, but I doubt Chelsea will really use it unless he.
Yeah.
Just for a defender too, I doubt they'll try and get him back.
Exactly. So we will see. It's going to help you guys this season.
I think it's a great team. It's
a wonderful team. All right. Starting in net for me, we have. This is someone I've taken the past 3 years, and he's never leaving my team. It's end of story kind of thing. Casper Schmeichel, what a wonderful lad. Great guy, great goalkeeper, solid all around. I don't ever want him to leave Leicester.
Yeah,
ever.
I don't think he will.
That would be amazing. And then sitting at right, he's not a right back. We're just gonna go defense because it doesn't really matter.
Left to right.
Thiago Silva, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, and Junior Firpo. Junior Firpo is a bit of a
interesting.
He's a bit of a dodgy one.
One of those was he one of those 4 million? You just put him in there.
He was 4.5, I think.
Yeah.
But he used to play in Barca, so it's like, well, Bielsa
you gotta have a little something.
Bielsa might be interested in that.
Yeah.
And then in the midfield, left to right, Leon Bailey, which I think...
You love your new signing.
I love it.
Unproven, it could go really wrong, which it usually does if you get like a team full of new signings.
I mean, Leon Bailey, he's just one of those things. He's just one of those guys.
I doubt.
Dude, did you see his, like, you probably have at some point, but his goal for Leverkusen where he got it from the corner, like they played it in, takes a touch to the left foot, just absolutely drills it top left from like the weirdest angle. Yeah. But dude, I think he's gonna do that every game. Yeah. Okay. And then next to him, James Madison and Kai Havertz, 2 of my favorite midfielders in the Prem.
Nice.
Great guys. If you take out Yves Bissouma and you take out Todd Cantwell, you probably have.
Who you have Todd,
But
right?
if you take out Eve and Todd Cantwell from the Premier League, Madison and Havertz are probably my two favorite mids. Maybe Tielemans gets in there as well. But then next to Madison and Havertz, we have your boy Todd Cantwell.
Swag 11
The
player. Yeah.
I remember when we did
Was
that
Madison
team.
in there?
Nah.
No.
But James, have you seen some of his Instagram posts?
He's got
This
size.
guy's got some decent drip on him.
He does.
I mean he's repping some nice
He's
brands.
just a level below Grealish and Todd.
Dude,
to be
Todd-
fair.
If you guys want some advice, if you're feeling down, just go to Todd's Instagram. just
Todd
go to.
Cantwell's Instagram.
It's just.
He posts a lot of motivational.
He's very verbose.
Yeah. So
It's a wonderful site. And then up top, very similar to your attack. I have Timu Pukki and Patrick Bamford.
yes.
Pukki with the captain's armband, and then
Really? Against Liverpool. Wow.
I'm looking for a
I had
brace.
Bruno as my captain.
Okay.
Just by the way.
And then sitting in the subs, Cycling GK.
Mm.
Just have to have him. Timothy Castan, but he is 75% chance right now. Lack of match fitness. I think that's the same. That's the worst excuse.
It's just
Coming into preseason,
not healthy.
like first game of the season, you're not match fit. Like that is the worst excuse. But yeah, he's not gonna play. Sancho's lack of match fitness as well, so probably won't play. And Aubameyang, I heard from you, won't play. So I immediately subbed him out.
Yeah.
Todd's on 75% chance, but I'm not gonna be.
We take that chance with Todd.
It's one of those things where we gotta take it to see where it goes. But yeah, that concludes my team, and my prediction for game week 1, 72 points. I'm gonna do a madness.
Big time.
Big time here.
Oh wow.
What do you
Okay.
think? What are you thinking?
For my team, I don't know. 73. I think.
Ooh, taking the cake.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna finish out with our top 3 and bottom 3 predictions for the Premier League this year. It's actually a tough one because if I wasn't a Brighton fan, I'd put us in there. But I'm not gonna do
The
it.
sad truth.
I'm not gonna do it though, because that's just not who I am.
You're top 4 at the minute.
Alphabetically,
Yeah.
we are in a Champions League spot.
Honestly, Southampton will not move at the end of the
No,
season from
so
where we are.
yeah, you guys are alphabetically and numerically
16th.
very similar. Statistically and alphabetically very
Yeah.
similar. My top 3 are going to be Chelsea, Man City, and Man United. My bottom 3. Do you want me to order them?
No, that's fine. That's my same top 3.
My bottom 3 are
Well.
Crystal Palace, Wolves.
Wolves.
Dude, they're terrible this year.
Hmm.
Wolves are so bad.
Interesting.
Dude, they signed like no one.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't.
Well, they signed
Raul-
Portuguese players.
Well, yes, but and I don't even know if Raul ever.
The Jows.
Like, if Jimenez ever comes back and plays properly again, I'll
He
be
is.
surprised. Yeah, okay, but they say that.
well,
he
has played.
You just wait. He's gonna be running around in circles. He's not gonna be able to think. He got a skull fracture. That's a permanent concussion right there.
It's true.
So Crystal Palace, Wolves, and
Brighton. Brighton. if
I'm
you
not
weren't- if you
not
weren't-
doing it.
If you weren't a fan, Brighton, but
Shh.
yeah.
None of that. And the Bees.
Brentford.
Yes.
I have Brentford and Palace as well. I'm gonna go.
Thank you for having Palace. Love that.
I think every time they're gonna do it, and then they just end up like just
15th.
annoying. Yeah.
Just get out of here already.
Yeah. And then they do have Patrick Vieira as their new manager, which is
Which
gonna
is
be
actually kind of sick.
it's gonna be really interesting.
Dude,
like that team is very interesting.
Uh-huh.
As a Zaha, they brought in a couple others, but I'm just gonna say Brentford, Palace, Newcastle's gonna be down there. Watford, I kind of fear for
That's
them.
4 teams.
No, I'm just saying it around.
Yeah, you're just spitting about.
Brighton. No, I think Brighton will be safe. To be fair,
I'm not listening to any of this.
I think they'll be
Just shield
fine.
up. See, right here, Masters of Modern Soccer.
That's Graham Potter.
That's Graham. This is Graham Potter.
So yeah, I think top scorer, Che Adams.
Do you think Danny's gonna do well at Villa?
We didn't talk about that. Yes, just because he's good.
But
problem he's gonna start.
He
over
will.
Watkins.
He will. But the problem is Ollie Watkins is a great striker. So if Danny ever dips in form, he's right out of there.
Danny never dips in form. He just gets injured for many months, and that's kind of his dip in form. And then he comes back and does fine. But like, Villa they should know that they're only getting him for about
3 months of the
20
season.
games.
I'd say 15.
Yeah.
20.
But for those games, he's one of the best strikers.
For those games, he's going to rack up numbers that you'd never see from anyone else.
I think that concludes the predictions.
Yeah, honestly, that.
What about like personal teams?
Hmm?
I think Southampton's going to draw Everton.
What do you mean?
Opening weekend. Who does Brighton play?
Oh, we play Burnley. Oh, dude, yeah. Dude, this
That
is
is a 0-0 draw.
This is the worst starting game ever. Dude, and I was looking at all these Brighton fan accounts when the schedules came out and everyone was gassed. We got Burnley to start. I was like, why are you guys excited right now? This is going to be the most boring game anyone's ever watched.
God. Besides Burnley Newcastle, that is one of the worst matches.
That's an absolute
Two
stinker.
teams that just do not score whatsoever.
But I mean, no, if you're looking for defensive capabilities, then Ben Mee and Lewis Dunk are going to have an absolute showing. All right, well, that does conclude season 3, episode 1 of the Class on Grass podcast. Like I said before, merch is out. Go check our store. If you don't know how to get there, go to classongrassmedia.com, and then there's a drop down, gets you to all the pages, and then there's a official store page where you can click a link that sends you to our store powered by Bonfire, and there you can select all of our different merch items. And other than that, we will be back next week. It's great to be back, and it's going to be consistent, and it's going to be a great time this year. Look forward to growing the podcast. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family if anyone likes soccer. And lastly, don't want to forget, if you want to be a patron, only $2 a month. It's actually not a bad deal. And if you're a patron, you then get access to our Discord, which allows you to ask questions in the Discord server. And
do
also,
calls and
you can do
everything.
calls and video chats with us if you want to call in, all that stuff. It's just a phenomenal deal if you guys want to be a part of that. So yeah, we'll leave you at that, and we'll see you next week on... Well, so it's hard because we're doing this on a Friday. Mm-hmm. So we'll probably see you guys next week on a Sunday.
Yeah, most likely.
We'll get back to the Sunday.
It will usually be Sundays, just based on our schedules.
We wanted to get this one done.
We'll be able
before
to review the games that happen.
Yep.
So yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you next time. Peace.